Welcome to Mighty Married Moms. Join us at our kitchen table twice a week as the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Linda, Wendy, invite spectacular guests to weigh in on staying sexy, vibrant, and healthy, building marriages with soul-satisfying connection, raising happy, healthy, successful kids. Conversations with Mighty Married Moms will bring you closer to the life you really want. Episode 120. Today's show is brought to you by Deborah C. Owen, Family and Life Coach at youcanraisegreatkids.com. If you are tired of worrying about the choices your kid is making, or tired of the stress of constantly arguing with your kids or them arguing with each other, then don't wait until you are truly desperate. Get the help you and your family need and deserve today. Connect with your kids with calm compassion. Call Deborah Owen at 978-835-4354.
Good morning. It's Wendy Williams from MightyMarriedMoms.com, and I also work at connectagain.org, and this is
Linda Tighe from AllWellBreaksLoose.com.
And Debbie Owen from YouCanRaiseGreatKids.com.
And we have a different format today where our guest is actually right here with us.
We did this once before. It's great to have you with us.
Yeah, this is Anne Lafleur, and she is worked nearly 13 years at Human Resources at Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge, Mass., before leaving in 2014 to pursue her true calling in the form of a project or business called The Gift of Happiness. She offers workshops, products, and services that make it easier for people to share the simple gifts of love and care, which in turn leads to more happiness for them and the people around them.
Awesome.
What a great calling.
Yeah. Isn't it fun?
It is.
I think it's fun.
It's totally fun. And there's a lot of scientific connections between a subjective feeling of happiness or being a conduit of happiness. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Oh, absolutely. It's the timing of my project. I didn't know about all the research when I started this. It just felt like something I needed to do. And then Sean Acor comes along with his research and all of the books. You go into the bookstore and you can have a whole shelf of happiness. So it's exciting, and I can look at that and say, yeah, see, it's legitimate what I'm doing.
Now tell me, MIT. And Human Resources to this. How did that journey?
Okay, let's see if I can do this quickly. MIT, so my background actually, I studied psychology and religious studies in undergrad, then I went straight into a master's in social work program at BC, so that's how I got to this area. But I went through social work school at the age of like 22 or 23 and came out and realized I'm not quite ready to be counseling people on their lives right now. I need to go out and live and have a life. So MIT Human Resources was my way to get some experience. And in particular, I was interested in some of the things they do there with organizational development, just sort of how do you get a team working effectively together. And now, as I thought, maybe if I can't do like counseling, maybe I could sort of help that kind of facilitate it.
Totally.
So that's how I got to MIT, and then I got sidetracked. I had some kids, and
Those darn kids.
and got sidetracked into doing databases and IT support, which is funny given our technical problems today. But but that job is now a year and a half ago, so I could let go of a lot of my
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And so when you left MIT, what made this the main calling of life?
Well, so this had started while I was still at MIT. What the real beginning of Gift of Happiness was when I took a personal growth workshop at the end of 2012, and at MIT I was sort of starting to feel, I was getting sort of grumpy and getting a little disgruntled and feeling like, my gifts aren't being valued, and I want to do more than they're letting me do, and I started getting sort of not a happy person to be around at work, because I was really just not in a good place. And so it was one of these sort of weekend group intensive workshops, and was transformational for me. It was like, I call it my sort of secular born again experience. Like I came in one way and I left like there's no going back. And it was this sense of tapping into, like, there's some real goodness and power in me, who knew? And actually when I look around at everybody else, holy cow, you've got it too. And that changes everything, really, when you look at the world that way. And so I started, it all started there, and then when I left MIT, it was actually a layoff, but it was one of these perfect timing,
Right.
like couldn't be better, I
Right,
needed a way out and that was it, kinds of things.
Yeah.
And when I thought about, do I go get another job, I sort of got ill. And then when I thought about, do I pursue Gift of Happiness and see what could work there, I thought, yeah.
Okay.
So that's where it's been going.
Great.
Great.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the products and services, tell us the
Yeah.
things that light you up the most about what you offer.
Oh, it's so fun. So the first thing I ever did, which, excuse me, where Gift of Happiness sort of got its start was, so my workshop was in October, and then we got into holiday season, and I thought, I don't want to do gifts the same way as I've always done. Like, I don't want to, just sort of buy a bunch of stuff. I don't want to, make it all about, like, can I impress you with how high quality my thing is? Like, that just didn't feel good. So I thought, well, what would feel good? And so I started playing around with this concept of happiness and this relationship between giving and receiving, and how, it feels really good to receive a gift, but actually feels really much better to give a gift and to feel like you're a person who's got something of value to give to people. So for Christmas that year, I gave my family giving kits. And the idea was, here's a bunch of stuff, your job is to give it all away. And that's
I
my
love
gift
that.
of you, the gift
Yeah.
of happiness, right?
I love that.
So in those kits were some simple things. There was some money and some little labels that went on the money that said, this is for you, have a great day. And so the idea was to take the label, stick it on the money, and put it around someplace anonymously. And there were postcards with stamps and note cards with stamps, and there were little pieces of chocolate, and there were these posters, like regular sheet says, take what you need, and on the bottom of it, these pull-off tabs, and they said things like love and hope and strength and friendship and health and all, like whatever it is. And the idea was, okay, take this poster and put it up somewhere and just see what happens. That idea I stole from somebody many years ago, but love it. So those were the giving kits. That was sort of the genesis of it. And then the real thing that sort of morphed into is these message cards. And I brought a stack. This is what I carry around in my purse with me.
Great.
And I was talking to my boss when I was still at MIT. I'm like, what else could go in a giving kit? Like, what else would you give away that would be small and simple and not expensive and would make a difference? And she's like, well, what about a card? Be like this little, and it would just say, reminder, you're awesome. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. So I printed up some at work. Reminder, you're awesome. I started giving them out to people, and it made them smile, and it made me feel really good. And it's the kind of thing that sometimes you say to people in person, but often you don't put it in writing to somebody. And what I found was these little cards that I gave to people, they would put up on their monitors.
You are amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Isn't that cool?
So and so it's morphed. So there's you're amazing, you're appreciated, you're awesome, you're beautiful.
Great.
You're valuable.
So many.
It's morphed since then, right?
Okay.
This is not even all of them.
Okay.
But
And they're like sort of like business card size.
exactly,
and feel,
exactly.
right?
Makes them really easy to
And you could write on the back.
yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Or keep it
nice.
totally blank and like you keep it for you and then you
Yeah.
sort
Or
of,
put it, one of those magnets, the business card magnets on the back. You
Yep.
can do that.
What you do matters.
yeah.
You are enough.
You are not alone. I love
Yeah.
these. These are
Yeah.
great.
Oh, this is great. Simple. Smiley face.
Right,
Yeah.
for the kids who can't read. I mean, in
Oh,
addition
yeah.
to all of the rest
You
of
don't
us.
Right.
have to be perfect to be lovable.
Cute.
These are
That's
great.
great. A dog paw. That is really cute. That's really cute.
Yeah.
So people can get these from your website?
People can get them from the website, and so I've been having so much fun. So I carry these around with me, and I give them out where it
I
feels
love
right.
I love it.
And then there's so many other different things you can do with it. I have this vision that you could walk into a store, like a store that wants to, they're selling stuff, but really they're selling something else, and you put in writing, what are you selling? So there's this, you can do like a business card holder display, and at the top it says take what you need, and then in the thing, it's sort of just like that poster, right? Yeah. So you can put these messages, you are this, you are that, or you can just put hope, you can put peace, you can put comfort, or whatever it is that you feel like you really do want to offer the people who walk in that door. Here it is, or in school classrooms, or in therapist offices, or anywhere where
So you're going to an
feel,
organization saying, here's another way for you to reach out and show who you are and what you value.
Right.
Right.
And there's a whole process of sort of working with people. So these are my messages, the things that I need to hear, that I really love to hear, that fill me up, and that therefore I like to give to others, because it's that whole when you give it, you get it kind of thing.
Right.
but they're not everybody's, and some people look at these and like, that doesn't really resonate with me. So then there's this cool conversation about, well, what is it? What is it that you're about in this world? What is it that that you most want to be sort of spreading? And so then we get to, customize it for
That's
great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
I love that idea. That's so.
I know, right?
Yeah, it makes me happy.
Perfect.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
So when you introduce this concept to people, either these store owners or business people, what do they draw a blank sometimes? And what's
Sometimes.
what is a good way for you to kind of interpret what it is that your goal is in this, your overall goal?
That's funny. I first went to, there's this humbling process of,
Isn't there always?
this is so obviously perfect. Shouldn't everybody just get it and want it? And so slowly learning, well, actually, no. Some people really resonate, and some people don't.
Okay.
And that's okay. And if every single store had these, that would get really old really quickly. And not even, it wouldn't be fun anymore.
Right.
So.
Right.
So my hope is that I draw and find the people for whom this clicks with something, and they say, I see it, I think I can take it, and I can run with it, and I can go in this direction. And one of the things that I think is really important is on the back of them, so they've got a message, and on the back it's blank, and it's intentionally blank, and people always say, well, why don't you put your website on the back, or why don't you put your this on the back? And every time it's not right, because
It's not about you, it's about them.
It is not about me. It
Yeah.
really isn't. And as soon as, if I give you a gift that says, Wendy, you're awesome, and this is from my heart, the first thing you're going to do, actually, this is what people do, they flip it over. And because they want to know, like, what's the catch? Like, why?
Right.
What church am I from? Or,
right.
what am I selling? And they flip it, and they're like, huh. And then they smile, and they say thank you. But it's like, they got to check.
They've got to check.
Because if there's something in the back, it's not free. And one of the whole principles of this giving and receiving is that you got to do it, no strings attached.
Right.
Yeah.
And let it go, and let it just sit, and then you own it, and then it's blank on the back, and you can do whatever you want with it, whether it's keep it or give it or whatever.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about happiness, kind of in general. Some of the stuff that you've learned about what it means to be happy, what does it take, and go ahead and tell us.
Science, that'd be great.
Well, I'm not a scientist, so much of this is what works for me, and I think that's actually one of the keys. Is one of the themes in the happiness literature, or whatever, is happiness comes from finding what it is for you. Like, what are you here to do?
Right.
And when you're doing what you're here to do, there's happiness. It's really simple, and it's also kind of challenging, like the whole life's journey, So there's this alignment of really giving yourself permission to do the things that actually make you happy. Because I think a lot of us know what they are. At least this is true for me for a long time. I know what makes me happy, but then there's all this like, but I can't because people will, reject it because of this, or I tried that and so there's a lot of layers of sort of it's okay. No, you actually can be happy. You have permission to be happy, and in fact, you will do more for the world if you are living out of your own happiness than pretty much anything else that you think you should be doing. So there's this huge discerning process of sort of what do I think should make me happy, or what do I think I should do versus what do I want to do, and what would that look like, and do I have permission to try it? So that's one sort of piece of it. I think the other thing that comes to mind is people push back on, so the gift of happiness, they say, happiness? Really? And happiness? Is that the best you can do? Because it doesn't really resonate with me. Sometimes happiness feels to people like it's, either it's like, I'm happy, plastered on, fake, like not real life, like Pollyanna kind of this, and like denial kind of thing. So that's one
response.
That's one sort of misconception. I mean, there's one layer of it, but like this deep happiness of like, I have this inner source of happiness that's not really, I can be feeling any other way. I can be feeling sad, I can be feeling angry, I can be feeling ashamed, I can be feeling all these things, and yet happiness can live alongside those other things.
Interesting.
So there's this sense of sort of emotional, being able to work with emotion in general, which allows happiness to sort of take its rightful place alongside all these other things that are also a part of life.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing in that is contentment. Is that, to me, that like contentment can be deeper than my episode of, whatever, frustration with something going on at home or the traffic, but that means I still have a deep contentment and or happiness.
It's got, happiness can look so many different ways. One of the things along my journey these past few years was taking a workshop with Carla McLaren, who wrote a couple books about empathy and emotion, and she's just a genius. And what was I going to say about her? I've totally blanked.
You took a couple classes with her, and I was saying contentment.
Oh, contentment, right. So she talks about sort of the families of emotions. So there's the angers, and anger doesn't always look one way or feel one way. It's like this whole range from sort of a little bit miffed over to like rageful. And same with happiness. So there's a little contentment to like euphoria.
Right.
So it's not just one thing, it's a whole family of expressions which is different for one person depending on situations, and different across people depending on just sort of how we're wired, and what sort of happiness looks like for you could look different for
even the difference between men and women, how they express happiness, right?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And where they find it, and women receive a lot of happiness or contentment or joy from nurturing. We really do.
Often.
And about relationships, and men really get a lot of jazz out of being appreciated and seen as being effective in the world.
Yeah.
And we can tend to compliment each other on, you're so good at relationships, husband of mine, and he might go, oh, thanks, but he'd rather hear, you did a great job, you were effective at this, and I appreciate all the things that you're out there doing. And that's going to light him up.
Right.
I mean, these are general statements about generals.
Absolutely. Right. And of course, my mind's like, well, this exception.
Right.
Yeah. But it reminds me of, that book, The 5 Love Languages?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of that.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like this, too. It's like, pick your message. It's going to look different.
Right.
And even whether you want words or not, it's going to look different. I'm a word person. I like words, but not everybody does.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Not everybody's as visual that way. Some people
Right.
are auditory learners or kinetic, or they respond differently to different things.
Right.
So do you work with clients one-on-one? Do you work with groups? Like, do you do things like that?
It's what's very cool about being still, I think, in the very beginning of this is I'm experimenting with lots of different things. So it's the frustration of I can't come to you with this is exactly what I do and how. It's like, well, I've tried this. It's coming together, and some of the things I love doing are working, doing sort of facilitated workshops in communities and groups, and taking a topic, and I teach on emotion, so we can do a whole course on anger, we can do a course on happiness, like Happiness 101, we can do a course on giving and receiving, sort of the principles of that, and I can take that, like people have parties for Mary Kay, and they have parties for all sorts of actually really cool products now, so you can have a happiness party, and just invite your friends to come together, and we'll talk about this thing, and we'll connect with each other and learn about each other in a different way, learn something new that might be helpful for our lives. But you do it in the comfort of your living room with your friends,
right?
Or with the people you want to get to know better,
right?
So that's one aspect. But then I also really like the idea of doing sort of these open community events where it really doesn't matter who comes in the room, and everybody is human, so we've got enough baseline to actually make this work. And I've done a couple different things with those groups. One that I've experimented with lately is, I'm calling them my happiness gatherings, but essentially what it is you come together and do like some icebreakery type stuff, just sort of just connect, but then we write cards. And so there are these cards, there are stamps, there are pens, and you think about, well, who in my life
needs some appreciation,
or who am I just feeling like, wow, I'm just so grateful for that person, or I've been meaning to reach out to them, but I mean, there's so many buts. It's so easy to just not take that.
And that's something, our listenership is global. I mean, you know, we have people in Europe, so people aren't going to be able to come to Natick, Massachusetts to necessarily go to one of these card parties. But can we all carve out, like, again, you know, for women, get a bottle of wine, bunch of cards, a little list, a nice music playing in the background, and at the end of an hour, you know, you've accomplished something really wonderful and spent some quality time with friends.
Yeah.
That's something that can be replicated anywhere.
Absolutely. And if it were, great. Like, I can't be there. I don't want to be every single place, but that's, to me, that's really, really inspiring to sort of spark these, like, oh, we can do that. It's not that hard. That's sort of the thing about all this gift of happiness. It's not that hard.
I know, I've heard you speak about that you want things that are very, very, like, within the grasp of anybody.
Right.
They're not a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thought. It's just like, oh, I could do that, and I'm actually, you talked recently about 3 seconds of quality time in any given day. So you could, you know, like I say, fire off a text to somebody, write up a card, put the stamp on it tomorrow. Don't even have to complete the task today.
Right.
You know, there are lots of ways to appropriate this happiness in our days
Right.
if we give it that time.
Right.
What do people do if they're feeling unsettled and they don't feel that kind of just general sense of happiness?
Oh, I love that question. Yeah, because we don't feel it all the time, right?
Right.
Like, so this is where this giving and receiving thing really is important to me. And when I do workshops about giving and receiving, one of the places we start is in any situation there is always a gift you can give that will feel good. And what we get stuck on sometimes is feeling like, back to these shoulds, you know, we get stuck on, the gift I should give in this situation is this, but I'm not feeling it. You know, so it's sort of getting to, all right, in this situation where I'm feeling disgruntled, where I'm feeling maybe resentful, or I'm feeling just blah, like, what is a gift that would feel good to give? And a lot of times it's what's a gift I can give to myself, whether that's permission to feel this way, sitting and listening. Like, I do a lot of sort of dialoguing with the different parts of myself, like, okay, angry part of me, what am I saying? You know, but do it in your own way. But so the gift of attention, huge, you know, and of course in every sort of spiritual tradition, this whole sense of meditation or just being in the moment, like, no matter what you're feeling, it's a great gift for you and the people around you, because who wants you to be like, oh, that's like, that doesn't actually make anybody else around you feel that great. Right. But so the gift of attention, what's happening, and can I allow it to happen? Yeah. Can I try to understand it a little bit better without trying to say it's bad, it's wrong, I gotta push it away. Right. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, that does help.
And we often talk too about self-care, you know, and a lot of times women in particular, we don't give ourselves permission to have happiness in self-care. So if you're, you know, feeling like, oh, I shouldn't go get a pedicure, or I shouldn't go have a massage, or treat myself to a nice cup of coffee, whatever it is, that those things are really important, and the happier we are, the more things we do to be happy, it's got that ripple effect, right? In every area of your life, to job performance, to parenting, to relationships.
And in that particular instance about those self-care items, it seems to me that the word happiness can be interchanged for de-stressing or lowering our stress and getting more centered in our own bodies. So it might not, happiness seems like really high up on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, whereas at least not so stressed, at least more comfortable in my own skin, at least happy to see the people that walk in the door at the end of the day and not be like, you know, climbing the walls. So do you make any distinctions between happy and at least content in my own skin? Does that make sense, the question?
I don't think about it that way. I mean, I think I get that, but I also feel like it's such a journey. Every, you know, give me the last 20 minutes of my day, I've been, so it's, I think in this, you know, Western culture, we like to think this steady progress, you know, this march up and up and up or whatever, and it's so much more complicated than that. Yeah. I also wanted to say there's these two sides. This is also what I've been finding with happiness is, so sometimes it's like what there is to do is sit and attend to what's happening, because I really am. I'm confused. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling mad. But like something's happened. And then what I found with me is that sometimes, so I'll sit with something and I'm I'm feeling kind of centered, but then I start feeling a little disgruntled, and sort of this anxiety or this fear, this, and that's actually the trigger to go out and do something. So I think it's really easy in this self-care world to, no matter what, it's always about just calming down and relaxing and pampering. And sometimes that's true, and especially when we are go, 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 moms who are multitasking, that's often the right thing to be doing. And sometimes when you're sitting in that space of just being with that, like it sort of becomes clear, like actually part of why I'm anxious is because there's this thing that I've really meant to do and I haven't, but I've been putting it off. So fear and anxiety often is there to tell us, there's something for you to do. Yes. It's not just sitting and being happy. It's actually going out and getting into action. Right. And a couple of my cards actually, happiness requires action is one of my cards. Action defeats fear is one of my cards.
Yes.
Like because there is this back and forth that we do. We live and then we have to sort of take care of ourselves. And then we go out and we're courageous again and then we have to take care of ourselves. And both of those things together, I think, are critical for the overall sort of flowing, happy life.
That's great.
That is really great.
Cool.
That's really helpful. Oh, Anne, there's a lot to think about.
Yeah, really wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A local treasure right here in Massachusetts that's going global.
Yeah.
So how can people find you online? You have a wonderful blog.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So how do people find you online?
www.thegiftofhappiness.org.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
And you do have a blog people can sign up for. Yep. And I don't know, if you don't have any recipes for having how to hold your own card party in Switzerland or California, you might offer some people a little bit of a template on how to have a really nice happiness
Do it
generating
yourself.
DIY happiness.
There's your free gift when you sign up for my newsletter.
Yeah, there
it
you
is.
go.
Yeah, very good.
I love it.
That's great.
I love it. I can work on that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making
Thank
the
you.
trip over here.
Yeah,
and thank you for
guys.
joining
Thank you.
us. Yeah.
All right.
So this is Mighty Married Moms, and again, look us up on iTunes, and I'd love it if you would subscribe and share these episodes with your friends and family, because clearly we're making a difference here with conversations of quality like this, and happiness is a really good goal. So from us to you, take care, and thanks again. This is mightymarriedmoms.com. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Mighty Married Moms. Tune in twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to meet fascinating and inspiring guests who will help you create the life you've always wanted.
You can find these episodes and special gifts just for you at mightymarriedmoms.com, as well as a link to our Facebook community,
where we continue the conversation around the kitchen table. Please also help share the love by leaving a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.